Okay, right now we're going to talk about taste. With taste, we have a lot of different things that we can actually like taste. Things are salty, things are sour, things can be sweet or even bitter, and something like called like things can be delicious, right? And we call that umami. It's kind of a weird name, but each of them have different contributions to what really makes us taste those different tastes. Things that are salty will be really just sodium ions. Sour will be hydrogen atoms, and then sweet would be carbs. Bitter is something called ketones. Then umami is glutamate. Awesome. We'll draw just a generic, I guess, kind of taste receptor cell. So all over the tongue, you have your different kind of. Let's see how they'd be. Kind of like this, like your different taste buds. Just kind of like that. So you'll see these generally. But inside of here, you're going to have your cells. They're actually going to allow you to taste things. So this is a generic taste cell, pretty much. And I'm going to draw it out real quick. So all of them are going to have your potassium leak right here. And then they're going to have these voltage gated calcium channels that will release basically your neurotransmitter, which we actually don't know what this neurotransmitter is. So we're just going to say neurotransmitter. And then you have your neuron here that will go to the brain and interpret the taste. And they have these different receptors that will take whatever that neurotransmitter is. Okay. I don't know 100% sure, but I think all of them have this SER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And they have this gate on it that's called, well, I don't know if we don't have a name, but it's triggered by IP3 basically, which I'll get more into that here in a second. So, yeah, right here. Okay, so let's do, I guess, salty first. So with salty, you're going to have right here, it's called a ENaC right here. And it's for, I don't really know why they call it ENaC. I don't really remember why. It was important, but I don't remember. So it's called ENaC. This is basically a channel. And sodium's going to go, it's like a sodium leak channel. So it's called ENaC. And basically, for salty is going to be our first one. So your salty, I guess, things will have Na plus go through there. And this will go and give a Wong. And potassium will leave in the cell. And then this will actually open up your calcium channel right here, your voltage gated calcium channel. This will come in and release neurotransmitter right here. So this is for salt. Okay. And then now we have, let's do sour. So hydrogen ions or hydride ions will come in like this. And what they do is they actually close this potassium leak channel. Well, I don't know if it's actually a leak, but it's this potassium channel. And it'll close it, but it'll still do the Wong. And calcium will flow in and still send glutamate, so we can get an action potential later on in the neuron going to the brain. So this is for sour. Okay, now it gets a little bit different with sweet, bitter, and umami. So we're not really concerned with these. So just kind of like, don't really pay attention to them in this one. So in our smooth endoplasmic reticulum, we have a lot of calcium in here. And what we're going to have up here is a G protein right here. And we're going to have something that's sweet, bitter, or umami. That's going to come over here. So sweet, bitter, or umami. And we need a G protein right here, because these things right here are just too big to go through a channel. So they'll bind onto this G protein, and this will send a signal. And this one will send IP3. It's hooked up to it's going to be doing this. It's phospholipase. Phospholipase C right here. So this alpha right here. So we have gamma, beta, and alpha right here. This will go and signal to phospholipase C, which will in turn send IP3. And we know that IP3 is going to activate pretty much calcium. So this is going to come here to this channel and bind right here. So our IP3. And our calcium is going to be able to rush out, and that will basically depolarize the cell and allow these vesicles to release their neurotransmitter. So that's pretty much what with taste. Yeah, that's I think that's everything I'll talk about with taste. So, okay. And then we have, let's see what the next thing is that we want to talk about. We have, I guess, smell. So I'm going to draw a giant nose right here. Like this. Well, that's pretty good. Kind of creepy. But anyways, we're going to go up here, and we're going to have a little section called, it's like right up here. And this is called a cribriform plate. It's kind of on your skull. Right there. And we're going to have your olfactory bulb right up here. This is your brain. So this is what's going to send your signal to your brain for smell. Olfactory bulb. Okay, and then it's going to have these different dendrites coming through. I go through the cribriform plate, and they're going to go right into right here. Okay, and I'm just going to blow up one of these pictures right here. So let's do like that. Like this. Hopefully you can see that. So we're going to have our cribriform plate right here, and then it's lined with a bunch of mucus cells right here. These are going to release mucus. Just going to hang out kind of like down here. But I'm going to draw something else first. So we're going to blow up one of these dendrites. It's going to go through the cribriform plate, and it's going to be kind of like this. Right up here. So we're going to have a G protein on here. And whatever we're going to be smelling is going to come up and bind to it. And then our alpha protein is going to, or alpha unit right here is going to go right here to adenylyl. It's called adenylyl cyclase. like this. And what this does is it turns basically camp into into amp. And normally we have basically I'm a little confused, but I think we have Dental cyclase. Normally we have camp that binds to the. And sorry, to clarify, what adenylyl cyclase does actually is it turns, it converts ATP to camp. So this is actually ATP, it's turning it to camp. And camp goes and binds to this a cation channel, and allows sodium and sodium and calcium to enter this cell here, causing depolarization, and it'll go up to the olfactory bulb. So yeah. Okay, now we're going to talk about hearing. In the essay, it mentions in the beginning, like, describe how energy carried by sound waves turn into mechanical vibration, fluid waves, and action potentials. And then on the last part, it says include the part of the middle ear and inner ear in their roles, and discuss how hair cells produce action potentials of the cochlear nerve. So it's asking for basically the same thing, so I'm just going to do it all in one go. Hopefully that's good enough. But basically you have your ear. So let's just do, I don't know, kind of like this. Whoops, that is a horrible ear. Okay. So you have your ear, and you're going to get basically compressed air, which is what a sound wave pretty much is, just compressed air. It's going to go into your ear, and it's going to send a sound wave moving down. It's going to hit your eardrum. I'm just going to go like that. So this is your eardrum. It's going to vibrate, and it'll vibrate your occipitals, which are kind of like this. These are our occipitals, I guess. Okay, and then this is going to be connected to your cochlea. But I'm going to draw it. Normally it's kind of like this, like bound up really tight. I'm going to draw it kind of opened up. So like, kind of like this, right here. It's going to have a section in the middle. And we're going to have this round window right here. Okay. So basically, this whole thing's, I think, pretty much filled with like a fluid. It's called, what is it called? Paralymph, basically. And that sound wave is going to go hit it. It's going to disperse throughout the whole thing. It'll come back, hit the round window, just like disperses throughout the whole cochlea. And it travels through this fluid. And pretty much on the front end, so your cochlea, if I were to cut it and lay it out on the floor, at least for your basilar membrane, which is this part, this red part, if I were to lay it out, it would look like this. And up here on this part you have this section that detects high pitches, like high frequency, because they're really short. It takes a lot of energy to shake these guys. It's gonna be like 20,000 hertz. And then over here you have like 20 hertz, very low frequency. And each of these respond to different types of frequencies. Okay. So that's pretty much how like that signal will change. It'll start shaking in the cochlea, and then it's important for another thing I'm going to draw here. So I'm going to take like a cut, kind of just across it. We're going to look at it like right here, if you can imagine that. Let's see if I can draw it. I'm really bad at art and talking, so let's see how it goes. But I have a big circle right here, and we have pretty much kind of like this. I might erase a part of it. It goes like this. And this part's separated up here. This is going to be called the SV. And then this is your ST. I don't know if it really matters with the name. We don't really care. But it's composed of perilymph. And then we have I'm going to draw it kind of this way. Well, I'm confused because everyone draws it differently. But let's do like this. Like that. This is your let's do this. It's kind of like this. I don't know what this thing looks like. I don't know if it matters a whole lot, but this whole thing's your endolymph right here. It kind of goes in like that. And then right here is your ST. This is your perilymph. So I think your endolymph is here as well. Okay. ST right there. This is your perilymph. Okay. And this is going to be pretty much high in sodium. High sodium concentration. And your endolymph has a high potassium concentration. This has a high sodium concentration. Right here, and then you're going to have your basilar membrane like we talked about before. I'm going to erase this here. This is your ST. Okay, so we're going to have this going across like that, and then we'll have kind of our hairs going into the endolymph right here. And then, so these are your inner row, and then we're going to have these ones like that. Your outer row. And these are your hair cells pretty much. These are going to be important for action potentials and stuff. So we're going to have our striae vascularis, which is going to be out over here on the right. Let's see if I can fit it. So it's more dealing with the endolymph. So I'm going to try to show that. And both these are going to have a bunch of sodium-potassium channels. And an interesting fact is that in the body, this is the most area with your most sodium potassium ions or channels, and then most blood supply and stuff. But so I'm just going to assume they're there. But we're going to have something called an NK2C channel, which pretty much allows a sodium, potassium, and 2 calcium right into here. And then there's a potassium leak channel right here. Potassium leak. And that allows potassium to leave right here. And then chlorine can leave right here. Is able to leave, like chlorine channel. And then we have another one, another NK2C channel right here. So those are going to go in, and then we have another potassium leak right here. So this is going to leave there. So that's pretty much it. This, it's building up a ton of potassium, a huge potassium buildup, and this is going to be important here in a second. So let me draw up one of these guys, your hair cells. So you're going to have, like right here, so a giant hair cell that's like this. I don't like that. Kind of like this. And this is all going to be your endolymph. This is your paralymph. And on each of these little hair things, you're going to have these potassium gated channels right here. And they're going to be tied to each of the hairs right here. So with all the vibrations that are happening, they're going to end up pushing up on these hair cells, and they're going to press into that basilar membrane right up here. It's kind of like a gel-filled substance, right? So this is your basilar membrane. And what's going to happen is that those hairs are going to actually bend kind of like this when they hit it. And what's going to happen is that these potassium channels are going to open because these things are tethered to it, right? So when they're open like that, they're going to open and potassium is going to rush in like this. And it's kind of like a constant vibrating, so it's going to be like kind of close, open, happening really fast. Okay. And we're going to have this huge kind of buildup of potassium out here. And also we're going to get like a buildup of potassium in here. And it's going to want to leave the cell and go out. And each of these hairs are connected, and they have, our sodium or our calcium voltage gated channels. And then there's this right here with all your vesicles with your neurotransmitter. And we're going to have a potassium pump right here. K plus, Na plus pump. So we're going to have this potassium wanting to leave here, and it's going to leave behind negative charges, and then a bunch of positive charges right here. And then the same thing, there's going to be a lot of positive charges here. There's going to be negative charges here. And this right here is going to be kind of like an 80 millivolts. And like this is going to be like 40 millivolts. So it pretty much creates a difference of 120. So there's a lot of drive for the potassium to go into the hair cell and from the endo to the that's stupid names. Paralymph right there. There's a lot of names. And this is going to be causing your graded potentials right here to eventually maybe reach an action potential later on in the neuron. But this is going to release neurotransmitter here because your Wong's going to come in and hit this guy and send that to your brain, and hopefully you have an action potential to send that signal. So yeah, that's all happening because these are being pushed. So these should be open and potassium be rushing in from the endolymph. And that's how we hear things. It's kind of cool, right? Okay, now we're going to talk about how the eye focuses light. So we're going to have basically our eyeball right here. So I'm going to draw it kind of like this. Hopefully that's good enough. I'm going to draw our cornea too. So this is our cornea. And then we're going to have our lens right here. And I'm going to draw some suspensory ligaments. They pretty much hold on to your lens. It can cause it to bend, or they're pretty much just like, they act like a ligament, right? And we're going to have ciliary muscle. So this is pretty much like a sphincter. You'll go around, and when it contracts, it'll get smaller and go inside, right? Okay, so this is going to be important for focusing light. So when your sphincter, or when your ciliary muscle contracts, it's going to go smaller. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow the suspensory ligaments to pretty much go like more loose, kind of like that. If you just if you're holding like a string, if you just kind of bring it closer together, then it's going to be loose. And since they're holding on to our lens right here, it's going to let it pretty much get broader, if that makes any sense. And if it is to contract, relax, so if our ciliary muscles relax, it's going to go bigger, right? It's going to pull on those ciliary, they're suspensory ligaments, and those in turn are going to pull more on our lens and make it thinner, like that. Okay, so these are kind of an important idea right there. So when our eye's trying to focus on something, what we want to do is to get a clear image. You want it to hit back here, right here. If it's too short, it's going to be blurry. If it's too far, it's going to be too blurry. So you need it right here for you to get a sharp image. So if you're looking at something close, so let's say I'm looking at this right here. It's gonna bend and hit the lens. So it's gonna go like this, right there. And this is a pretty big angle that we have right here. So we're gonna want this lens to be more like this, because when it's more, I guess, like lax, right here, then it's going to be able to bend the light a lot more. If you have something that's more straight, it's not going to bend as much. So we want it to bend a lot. So these ciliary muscles are going to contract and make your suspensory ligaments lax, so that this gets, I guess, more like a circle, right? So I can bend that light enough to reach back there. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. And then the further you go, let's say we go like right here, to get to the lens, you're like that. It's a bit smaller of an angle. And then the further you get to, it's going to be even smaller of an angle. So we want to bend the light less and less. Further away, you got to bend it less to get back over here. So that'll basically, to do that, the lens will, your ciliary muscle will contract, and then your lens will become more straight, and it won't bend it as much, because the suspensory ligaments are going to be, since the ciliary muscles relax, is going to go out further and make it more straight. So that's how we're going to be able to focus on stuff. And if it's too straight, like let's see, like if we have it too straight, then it's going to go like this and not bend it enough. So then it's going to go like way further. So that's why you got to bend it the right amount to reach that point. So that's why it'll change on us. But that's how we basically focus light. And if you're nearsighted, that means that you can only see stuff pretty much up close. So you have a harder time seeing further away. So basically, it's harder for your lens to become straight. So generally, you'll want a convex lens if you're trying to see far, so that it can get that straight, so it doesn't bend the light as much, and then vice versa. Typically, it's more common to be farsighted, be able to see far, because this gets pretty stiff as we age, and it's not really able to be as lax and be as round. So we have a harder time deflecting stuff. So like that's why a lot of people wear like reading glasses and stuff. But that's how we focus light. Okay, now we're going to talk about how the eye pretty much interprets light, or gets really its image. So we talked about how it focuses at the light, but now we're going to talk about the image. So back to the eye, you have these things called, so you have your photoreceptors, which are going to be like your cones and rods. And then you have a bipolar cell. Bipolar. And then you have your, I believe it's called your ganglion cell, which kind of goes like this. And it'll go up to the brain and send that image. So we need to activate this to be able to send an action potential to the brain. So on our photoreceptors, I'm going to draw just kind of a generic one here. So it's kind of like, I guess I got to draw more stuff too. So I'll make it super big. It's kind of like this. Just like that. And we have a GPCR right here, which is kind of a type of G protein. It's going to have this part onto it. So this is your opsin. This is your retinol. And together they make up rhodopsin. So normally with your retinol right here, it's in the form of 11-cis retinol, which looks like this. Just like that. So you have the cis arrangement with your alkene right here. But light's going to hit it. So light will go and hit it. And it'll hit right this double bond. And it'll actually change the conformation of it to just all trans. Instead of having the cis, it'll be trans, just like this. And when it's trans, this retinol can no longer bind to the opsin. So this will come off of it, and opsin will become activated. And it's got its alpha unit, which will go and activate PDE. So PDE right here. This will become activated. And normally we have a voltage potassium bump right here. That's normally open because we have cyclic GMP on it. So let's keep it open. But this will come in and change cyclic GMP into basically this. It'll go cyclic GMP and turn it to GMP. When this turns to GMP, it doesn't do anything, and this will actually close and prevent the sodium that was coming in. So normally we have also our voltage gated calcium that'll be coming in, and these vesicles here with glutamate in them. So if we have this, so normally without basically the GPCR right here, or opsin. When this is normally bound and deactivated, we're having this potassium or this sodium coming in and doing a Wong and allowing calcium to come in and allow to these for these vesicles to release neurotransmitter. But in this case, if the light hits, then it'll lessen the amount of glutamate released because PDE will cause cyclic GMP to turn into GMP and it'll close the sodium channel. And we won't get the Wong, so less glutamate will come out. But let's just say that didn't happen and we had a lot of glutamate come out. Okay, so we have glutamate coming out, and we have this right here. It's called this receptor right here. It's another G protein. It's called GluR6, and if this is activated right here, then it will cause this here, this calcium channel, specifically called TRMP. If this is activated here, it releases up here to this channel, and calcium will run out. So calcium will run out, and it will cause these vesicles with glutamate again to release neurotransmitter onto the synapse here. And that'll send the action potential up. So these will do gradient potential. So basically, this is always going to be open right here and sending signals. But if it's dark, then nothing here is inhibited on the photoreceptor. And then we'll have a lot of glutamate because nothing's inhibited. And this will cause the mGluR6 to be activated and to inhibit this TRMP pump or this channel. So like calcium won't ever come in and release these glutamate things. But if we have light, then it inhibits the photoreceptor because the GPCR is going to be activated because cis-11-cis-retinol is going to be turned from cis to trans and not be able to bind to GPCR, so it'll be activated. It'll activate PDE, and that will change cGMP to GMP. And this will close the sodium channel and then therefore prevent for the voltage calcium from allowing the vesicles to release glutamate. So then this will never be activated, and this will never deactivate the TRMP. So the calcium will be just coming in freely and allowing the signal to go. So when light comes, then there's no neurotransmitter between the photoreceptor and the bipolar cell. And then if there's no glutamate between those, then it'll release light. It'll glutamate, and the brain will sense that as light. Okay, so that's just generically what's happening. And then we get these things called like on and off. So center on and then off. And it's basically just saying what light does to each of these to its overall contribution of seeing light, I guess. So we have our photoreceptors here, so we have 3. And we're going to do on, off, and off. And each of these are going to function just like a normal photoreceptor, so like up here. So nothing's going to change with any of these. Except we're going to put in some horizontal cells right here. And then we're going to have our same bipolar cell right here. This is a bipolar, right, with our TRM, TRP, PM1. And then we're going to have our mGluR6. So anytime we have mGluR6 on our bipolar valve or cell, it's going to be on center and then off surround. So these are going to be our surrounds, because typically what you get is like the cell here, and you get like a lot of these things here. So this is going to be our center photoreceptor, and then these are going to be surrounding photoreceptors. So that's why I call them surround, and then this one's center. So anyway, so we're going to have that. So let's just have like a scenario right here. So like this is on, and these are off. Okay. So let's say that we have light that's hitting right here, and then here on this part. So what's happening with these horizontal cells is that they have something called AMPA. And AMPA likes glutamate. It allows basically, cations or positive charges like sodium and potassium to go into the cell. So if light is to hit this one so these two right here, so light's going to hit and light's going to hit, we're not really going to get a lot of neurotransmitter, right, because everything's going to be inhibited. But on this one on the right, we're going to have some glutamate that comes out. So glutamate's going to come out right here. And then we have a horizontal cell with the AMPA. That's going to take that glutamate. It's going to go in, and we're going to get graded potentials here. And then this is going to release GABA. So release GABA. GABA is inhibitory. It's an IPSP. So GABA. IPSP. And what it does is it affects this calcium chlorine channel, and it will actually open it. So this will open this, and what it does is that it allows these to leave the cell and then chlorine to enter, right? And this will hyperpolarize the cell. So make it even harder for pretty much this to release glutamate. So this one that's off here is going to release less glutamate and overall contribute to light turning on, right? Because if we get less glutamate here, then this will turn on, because mGluR6 will go and will inhibit TRPM, so we don't release any vesicles on or any neurotransmitter onto our ganglion cell. But this one right here is in the dark. So this is dark right now, this is light. And then this is light. I'm confused. But so light will turn this one off. This will cause things to turn off. So it'll inhibit this. It'll go through. I think that's right. So when light turns that off, I need to pause it. Okay, so it makes sense. So if light's hitting this, then this won't be releasing as much of the GABA here, and then won't be helping keep this from releasing glutamate. But this one, so that's why it's off. It's not really helping to stop the glutamate from being released from the center there. And then, but this one in the dark is going to do the opposite. So we're always referring to these with light. So light would be off, as we saw on the left. but with dark, it'll actually be on. So when this is releasing here and releasing GABA, GABA will help prevent glutamate from being released so that this doesn't get blocked up, so that this can keep releasing neurotransmitter. So we kind of assign numbers to these, how much they contribute. So your center on contributes to more like 60% of kind of light being picked up by your ganglion cell, and then these twos are for these surrounding things. So it's like 20%, and then 60%, and 20%. So if light's hitting this one, and this is off, then it's going to be not contributing, right? It's not helping to prevent this from depolarizing. 6 is going to be on with light, and it's hitting light, so we'll count that 60%. And this one has darkness, and it's 2. So we'd have like 8 ticks right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's about 80% of what we can do for the light being picked up. And you can do that with different examples, like having light just on your center. And then if you had just light on your center, then you'd have 4 and stuff like that. So hopefully that makes sense. We're going to change it up a little bit here, and we'll change this to an off-center on thing. And the only thing that changes here is AMPA is in the middle instead of mGluR6. So we're going to have this right here. I'm going to change these up. So if we had off center and then on surround, we can do the same example. So I have light hitting that right there. So if we have off, then on right here. And this one's going to be off in the middle because AMPA likes glutamate, and it's not going to inhibit anything. It's actually going to allow more of an action potential come in with more kind of sodium and stuff when it has glutamate binded to it. So if this isn't releasing it, and when it's light, because anytime a light hits a receptor, it's not going to release glutamate or as much, then we're not really helping contribute as much with the AMPA, because the AMPA is going to want the glutamate so it can further send a guang down. So, or buang, I always forget what it is. So if we have light on the left one and then the middle center, so left surround on the center, and then darkness on the on here. This one will be an on one because light's gonna hit this right here. It's gonna release less glutamate because it's gonna be inhibited, so it's not gonna send this this stuff here that's gonna keep the cell hyperpolarized. So then our vesicles here are gonna release more, I guess, of the glutamate so that it can send a signal. So of the 2 and the 6 and the 2, this one would be good. It'd be on. So this will contribute. For the center one, when light's going to hit it, it's going to be inhibited, so it's not going to release as much glutamate. So then this isn't going to contribute to the Wong that AMPA is trying to do. So it would be considered off. So this would be that. And then on this on here, it's going to be dark. And since there's no light, it's going to be releasing the glutamate. It's going to be releasing GABA, making it harder for the center to release glutamate. So it's not going to be contributing to it. So since it's not light, it's dark. It's going to be opposite. Dark's going to be off, if you want to think it that way. And it's going to be not contributing. So we only have the 2 here that's going to be contributing overall for seeing light. But that's pretty much the science behind it. Sorry it was kind of confusing there, but it should be, that should be it. So that's it for this essay.